This video is for all you single women out there who want to call in a godly relationship, but you must know that God cannot deliver your godly man to you until you step in to being a woman of God. In this video, we're going to talk about the 3 steps to help you get there. And I'm going to be giving you some practical tips to help you on your journey to calling in a godly relationship. Step number 1 is to dress modestly. Step number 2 is to cultivate inner beauty. And step number 3 is to be virtuous. So let's go back and dive into each of these steps in more depth. So number 1 is dress modestly. Let's see what the Bible has to say about that. In 1 Timothy 2:9, it says, "And I want women to be modest in their appearance. They should wear decent and appropriate clothing and not draw attention to themselves by the way they fix their hair or by wearing gold or pearls or expensive clothes." Now, I know if you're anything like me, you've been deceived in the past by the world and our culture, telling us that it's all about what we wear or the makeup we put on or the jewelry that we have. That's how we'll be desirable. That's how we'll call in a good man. But as we can see here, the Bible tells us the complete opposite. The Bible tells us to not focus on those things and to actually dress and look modestly. They're not giving us a specific dress code here, but giving us some pointers and guidance. And it's up to each woman individually to decide what is modest to her. What is the Holy Spirit telling you around what modesty looks like in your life? I know for me, I've recently gone through a whole experience of throwing away tons of my old clothes, all my crop tops, all my super tight clothes, my yoga pants, because honestly, I just don't feel comfortable in them anymore. Modesty isn't about not looking beautiful, but it's about not trying to look sexy. It's about honoring God with your body. And that is one of the keys to attracting a godly man, is to dress modestly. Step number 2 is to cultivate your inner beauty. So let's see what the Bible has to say about that. In 1 Peter 3:3-4, it says this: "Don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. You should clothe yourselves instead with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God." So again, some of what we were talking about in the last step is being repeated here. Don't worry about that stuff and instead focus on what is inside, because that is where our beauty actually comes from. A gentle spirit, a soft heart, a relationship with God. Because through cultivating those things, your inner beauty shines through, and that is completely magnetic to a godly man. And step number 3 is to be virtuous. So in your actions and the way you show up in the world, show your virtue and show your dedication to God. Don't look to our culture or to celebrities or influencers or famous people to show you how to act in the world. Look to God and look to the Bible to show us how to act and how to be godly women. So my favorite verse here is to look at Proverbs 31. Now this is a long Proverbs. I pulled out 5 different qualities within the proverb. I highly recommend you go and read the whole thing yourself, but it's Proverbs 31, 10-31. So let's look at those 5 qualities and little verses I pulled out and dive into them. She is energetic and strong and a hard worker. And I think funny enough, the way that I used to relate to femininity personally, and I think a way that our culture can relate to femininity, is that it's not a hard worker, that a feminine woman is just wearing a dress and running through a field with no cares in the world. But the Bible tells us she is actually a hard worker, which I love so much. In Proverbs 31, it also says she extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. So this quality that we're looking at here is she is in service. She cares about people who are less fortunate than her, and she is being generous and in service to them. The next thing the proverb says is that she dresses in fine linen and purple gowns. And to me, what I'm imagining in my mind is an elegant, simple, modest woman. So really the quality I wanted to pull out here is elegant. Right? Just because she's not focused on expensive jewelry or how she does her hair, she still cares about the way that she presents herself. And it's still elegant and it's still feminine and it's simple and beautiful. The next verse I pulled out of Proverbs 31 is this: "When she speaks, her words are wise and she gives instruction with kindness." And the last piece we'll touch on here is the last line: "Charm is deceptive and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised." The quality we're looking at here is godly. She cares about her relationship with God. Her relationship with God is number 1. I used to be freaked out by the phrase fears the Lord. However, now I see that it means she has reverence for God. She wants to follow God's commandments, and she understands the importance and the seriousness of that. So a fear of God is incredibly important. She also loves God, but she also fears God. So when we embrace these 5 qualities of being a hard worker, being in service, being elegant, wise and kind, and godly, that is how we can show our virtue in the actions that we take. And in a godly man seeing that, he will know that is a virtuous woman. That is a woman who I want to make my wife. If you want to learn more about how to call in the man of your dreams, go ahead and check the description below. My husband and I created a free training where we are telling you about the 3 steps of how to go from single to in a relationship with a godly man. I hope this video blessed you today. Go ahead and comment your biggest takeaway below, and I will see you in the next video.